Hey, it's TK Irish. It's Sunday. We're talking football, college football, here from Camp Kennerk. And man, I tell you what, I watched some of those games yesterday, and they weren't very good. You know, it's sad that this time of year, when everyone's talking about the conference champions, and you got the big playoff 12 teams to try to buy in there. And you get things that, I mean, it's just stupid. I mean, Notre Dame won 70 to nothing yesterday. And that's an embarrassment for both schools. This is about spirit of competition. And obviously there's no competition, but hey, what can you say? What we have at the Camp Kennerk Football Conference this week is we have some really good things going on. We had, what do we have here? We had five winners out of six games. So that was a good showing. And we have three of our teams that are in the running to be in the college championship playoff system. So obviously the old Southwest Conference, which is now Camp Kennerk Conference, is really showing their wear and doing a great job. So, but Douglas, what do you think about some of these games this week?
TK, good to see you on a Sunday morning, just like all the men and women around the galaxy looking at the box scores for their sports. And we are looking at the Camp Kennerk Podcast College Football Conference. And you're absolutely true concerning competition. We have so many incidences of teams, good teams, great teams playing cream puffs. It's embarrassing. And why are they scheduled late in the season? And we even have a bye this week. So this is crazy because this is week 11, 12. They've played 11 games, but it's week 12 because they're stretching the games on out. And we have talked about this, and we have three incidences of the things we don't like, of the conference games where they're playing cream puffs, bye weeks that are just goofy, and older players playing against young kids all in 1 week. And it's just not good, but we are purists. We are football fans, and it's Sunday morning. So let's get into the Camp Kennerk College Football Conference.
First of all, let's get our cup of coffee going here so we have enough energy to make it through the day.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Woo! That
Mm.
Aldi coffee does it every time.
Get up and Joe. Okay. Okay. Starting with the the old Southwest Conference, which is in our hearts, but is now spread out because of money, greed, and whatever. It's nonsense. Starting in the West, we got Texas Tech. Now, Texas Tech is 10-1. They're really having a good year. They
Yeah.
really are. And they got beat by Arizona State. And then they had a bye. And they had a bye. This and next week they're playing 4-7 in West Virginia, and they're in the Big 12. Now TCU up there in Fort Worth, close to you, they're in the Big 12. They're 7-4, and they beat Houston 17-14. And their next game is against Cincinnati, which is 7-4. Now, uh, SMU, which is in the Atlantic Coast Conference, they're 8-3. They're having a pretty good season, both TCU and SMU, and they played Louisville and they beat them 38-6. So not bad. And then they're playing California for the last game of the season, which is 6-5. Now, in the Big 12, back to the Big 12, we've got Baylor. Now, Baylor is 5-6. Now they're in Waco. You and I know that, but to our people get in the galaxy, Waco is where the Dr. Pepper plant is.
Yes. So it
And
all
that's a,
started. Oh, Dr. Pepper himself.
and it's a love story. It's a beautiful love story how it started. So we love it. Okay, we love Dr. Pepper. It's in Waco. Baylor University are there, and they're the Baylor Bears. They're 5-6, and they lost to Arizona 41-17. little smackdown there. And then next week, Baylor is playing Houston, who is 8-3. Now, for the big game here in Austin, University of Texas Longhorns play in they're in the SEC. They are 8-3, and they beat Arkansas 52-37. Now, Arch ran past through whatever. He had a super day, all of 6 touchdowns, and kind of put it to Arkansas, which is kind of interesting because Arkansas is a pretty good team, but this year they just don't have it.
Yeah. Well, I watched the that game, and at halftime, Arkansas was at a 1 point spread between the two teams.
Yes, I
So,
know.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
it was a ball game, and then they came out the second half, and well, one team came out the second half, and the other one
yeah,
did.
yeah, yeah. And I think what was the stat that it's this game was the first time Texas had a defensive touchdown?
It
A
may
picked
be.
up fumble that ran in,
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting stat, you know.
Hmm.
So next week, the Texas University of Texas Longhorns are playing the Aggies here in town, and the Aggies are 11-0. So let's get to the Aggies. The Aggies are in the SEC. They are 11-0 and 0, and guess who they played? Samford.
Ah,
Samford. And they beat them 48-0. Now,
yes.
you have an opinion. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, this is not the first time that school's come up in our podcast. They've played, I think they played another, one of our teams and got shellacked. But,
Yes,
they're 1-10 this year. Okay.
right now 1-11.
Well, yeah, yeah. And, it's a school outside Montgomery, Alabama. It's a rural area. It's a private school, but
It's a
it's pretty,
Christian school, right?
yes, yes. And the thing is, it's a good sized school. It's almost 6,400 students. So they qualify for D1 because they have the all the men's and women's of sports, and that's really
Yes.
what qualifies you to be if you're going to be a D1 school. So, but the real deal is they have a 98% graduation rate for their athletes. Yeah, you take that to Texas A&M. Well, Texas A&M may have a pretty high one as well, but they don't have 98%. I guarantee you that.
There's no school that has 98%.
No, not for athletics.
Not for athletics. Yeah.
No. So they you're looking at the schools, they play smaller D1 schools, and they don't do it very well, obviously, but
Yeah.
they're trying. That's all I can say.
They're trying. It's just, yes, they qualify because they've got 6,500 students there at Homewood, Alabama.
Hmm.
It's south of Montgomery.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Homewood. Okay. Uh, but
I'm sorry, Birmingham. Birmingham.
Oh, Birmingham. I
Birmingham.
know nothing about Alabama. Okay. It's just there's this late in the season to be playing a cream puff. They maybe early in the season, but then again, with the SEC being so big, why are they playing any cream puffs?
Yeah.
You know,
I
just
know.
I know. And where these kids get beat up 48-0, why are they playing? It's just
Well,
cruel and unusual punishment.
if I could remember correctly, about 5, 8 years ago, there was a big controversy because they were putting these teams like Samford all in the front of the season. So the first four
Yes,
games were just
yes,
blowouts. And so now
right.
they're just trying to slip in, here and there so it doesn't look so obvious.
Well, what our argument is why they're even on the schedule.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
why are they on the schedule? And the school, Samford, gets X amount of dollars to go play the Aggies, but it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And when I was in the pub yesterday, some of the people there were, oh, Aggies are playing Samford. Why? These people, why? And we at the Camp Kennerk podcast are saying, bringing this to the forefront to our listeners and to the NCAA. Why? You got to shape up, or you're going to lose audience. Because why are we going to watch? What's the interest? To watch that game?
Well, that's a good point. I mean, it goes back to the money.
Yes.
They want TV rights, they want streaming rights, and if they get the people, what happens is that everyone turns into the game for the first 10 minutes, then they see, they're already 21 points down, they turn it off. But
Yes.
but they could take that viewership for the first 10 minutes and sell it to the advertisers so they get a higher rate.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I understand. I understand it. It's just in playground justice,
Yeah,
when you have the senior high school boys playing the third grade,
yeah.
what's going on?
Well, I was always
What's
taught pick on someone your own size.
Yes, pick on someone your own size. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Playground justice.
yeah,
That sort of stuff. Anyway, moving on. Next week the Aggies play Texas here, and the Texas is 8-3, and of course it goes back to the old Southwest Conference where every year the Aggies played the Longhorns. It's a big game. It's a big rivalry, and I believe the game is on Friday the 28th.
oh, okay,
The day after Thanksgiving. Because it used to be on the Thanksgiving game, but the pros took over the Thanksgiving game, and it used to be on a Friday, and the parents said, "Well, we want our boys home." So
yeah.
I believe it's on Saturday, but check your local listings, please. Okay, now hang on a second. I'm having a little lighting problem here. What's going on here? All right. It'll come and go. Maybe the battery's given out. But anyway, there's plenty of daylight here in awesome Austin, Texas. Now, moving on to Rice, that's the original cream puff. We do not follow Rice. So, and the other one is Oklahoma State, and we don't follow them because who cares?
Yeah,
That's who cares. Okay. So our next team is Arkansas up there in Fayetteville. They are in the SEC and they played Texas, and Texas beat them 52-37. Okay. Now Arkansas is 2-9. They're just not having that much fun. They're just
no,
not having that much fun. But it's a good team, but they're just not having that much fun. And Arkansas does a lot of recruiting out of Texas. So, it's not as quality of, where they get their players. If they get top-notch players here in Texas, So anyway, and then Arkansas is now 2-9, and next they're going to play Missouri, which is 7-4. Now, next we have Oklahoma, which is 9-2, and they're in the SEC, and they beat Missouri 17-6. And then next week they're going to play LSU, who's 7-4. All right, now moving on to teams that you and I follow, our schools from our heart. Notre Dame, your team, which is an independent, they are 9-2. They beat Syracuse 70-7, 7-0-7,
yes.
7-0. So Syracuse is a large school, so it's not a cream puff, but bad day at Black Rock for Syracuse.
Well, once
Notre Dame
again,
turned it on.
yeah, yeah, and part of the challenge, if you really look at the big picture, Douglas, is the fact that they schedule these games 4 or 5 years out at least.
Oh yes, oh yes, yeah, that's true.
So, with the NIL and the portal, a school like Syracuse could have just been robbed of their players or
Yes,
didn't have enough money to pay them. And
Yeah,
so,
or paid the wrong guy.
yeah, yeah,
You ain't doing the job. But I understand. But Notre Dame beat Syracuse 70-7. Oh, I look bad in the dark here. Oh, good lighting, good blonde hair and good lighting and distance.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Notre Dame is playing Stanford next week, and Stanford's 4-7. That'll close out the season. Now, UTEP, my school, University of Texas El Paso, they are in the Conference USA. They are 2-9 because they lost to New Mexico State, which is in Las Cruces. So it's just 20 miles up the road from El Paso, and they lost 34-31. That must have been a close game. I'm going to have to watch that one on YouTube uh, on the shorter version. And next, now here's an insult. Why is UTEP playing 5-6 Delaware Fighting Blue Hens in Delaware?
It's one word, frequent flyer miles.
Has to be. It's just,
Yeah,
but fortunately, they're playing them on a Saturday.
yeah, yeah,
And UTEP played 2 Wednesday games and a Tuesday game. So what's going on, NCAA?
yeah.
All right. So now we're following North Carolina. They're in the ACC and they're 4-7. They played Duke yesterday and they lost 32-25. And I understand there was a trick play at the very end. So I've got to have to watch that. Now, next, North Carolina is playing 6-5 North Carolina State. Now we're following North Carolina because of Bill Belichick. He coached the Patriots, New England Patriots, and the pros. And retired a couple of years and went to North Carolina, and he's trying to turn it around. And it'll take time, but he's working at it. But North Carolina, Duke, and North Carolina State are there on Tobacco Road. They're in North Carolina. They're just down the road from each other. So it's
Yeah.
always a big rivalry every time they play. So and then North Carolina and North Carolina State will be the final game of the year, which is tradition. Now, Kevin, our magnificent computer dude, he follows the Oregon Ducks because he likes the colors. Okay, good enough for us. They're in the Big Ten, and they are 10-1, and they played USC yesterday, and they beat them 42-27. And then a rivalry game next week is Oregon's playing Washington, and
Yeah.
they're 8-3. Yeah. So, okay. Now let's get around to our fan, Tom C-Lo. C-Lo, C-Lo, C-Lo. He's the 58-year-old guy who went back to college, had eligibility, and he's playing for the Lycoming Warriors. Lycoming Warriors. And their season is finished. They only play 10 games. And they're in the landmark conference there in Pennsylvania. Lycoming is in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Okay. Now, what's interesting is the Lycoming Warriors are 5-6 overall, but they're 5-1 in their conference. And it's all about winning
Oh,
your conference.
yeah.
And they played in the Cape Charles Bowl, and they played Washington and Lee out of Virginia. Washington and Lee's in Virginia. And they got beat 14-12. But Tom didn't play. He just didn't play.
That's too
So
bad. I
it's
thought,
not in the stat. It's not in
yeah,
the stats.
yeah. Well, he's a lineman. He's a D lineman. The only way he's going to get some ink is throwing somebody for a 15-yard loss.
Yeah, like the Rudy play. He's the Rudy of our generation.
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's get back to your team, Indiana. Indiana is 11-0, and they had a bye, right? Indiana had
Yes.
a bye.
Yes.
So that's two
They had to get ready for Purdue.
for Purdue. Yes. So
And
Indiana is 11-0, and they're playing Purdue next week, which is 2-5. Okay, so that's two teams, two major teams having a bye this week.
I
What's
know.
going on? What's
Yeah.
going on? I don't get it. What's going on? You know, and so that breaking it down, these are the three undefeated teams: Ohio State, the Aggies, and Indiana, with 11-0. Okay, so in Ohio State's 11-0, and they beat Rutgers 42-9, and then they're playing Michigan, who is 9-2 next week. So the Ohio State Michigan game is a big game.
Oh, it's very big. It's very big. I mean, those two schools, it's not like they say, oh, they dislike each other. There's actual hatred. I mean, hatred. Over the years, I've seen where a student athlete, played high school in Ohio, decides to go to Michigan, and I mean, he's not coming home anymore. He's gone. He's not coming home for Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, whatever. You know,
Well, it applies here in Texas between Texas and Oklahoma. You
yeah.
know, that's the way it is. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's okay. We understand that. But anyway, so at 11, we're now in the 12th or 13th. I don't know how the NCAA counts this, but the 12th or 13th week. But Indiana, Aggies, and Ohio State are 11-0. And so the end of the season next week. So a lot of big games. And that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Beautiful thing
Yeah.
we do.
Then we
Now,
get into,
TK, that's what I had for the sport. Go ahead.
oh,
Go
I
ahead.
was just going to say, now we're getting, after the next week, we're going to get into some conference playoffs, where who's going to be the champion of the Big Ten, and some of these. And so
Right.
Indiana will play Ohio, and
Yes,
that'll be a game worth watching. But I don't think every conference
absolutely true.
has a championship. I think the Big Ten does, just because they have so many.
Right. And what we can do next week is break that all down at who's a champion where, blah, 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 how it all works down. But that we do the DTN Camp Kennerk numbers, money
Yes,
ball for applied to football.
yes.
This week, because what you had mentioned, there weren't that many really interesting games because the cream puffs and buys, that sort of stuff. So I only did one game, only did the numbers on one game. And the reason I chose that was because the USC Oregon game, Oregon is 9-1 and USC is 8-2. So equal teams, and then looked at the numbers to see how equal they were. And this is amazing. By taking the total yards average plus the points gives us a number for both teams. And now USC, their total average yards plus points equals 870 points. Okay. And then Oregon has 475 and 390, and that gives them 865 points. So it's only a 5 point difference,
Hmm.
just a 5 point difference. So by going by the numbers, you would say, okay, USC. But I thought, well, this is a little bit too close. Why did I go with a tiebreaker? So I went to the the total points scored in the last two games.
Good idea.
Okay. And USC came out on top. They scored more points than Oregon in the last two games. And so I came out with USC. But what do I know? Because Oregon beat them 42-27.
You
Which,
should have, that tiebreakers what threw you off.
oh, that had to be it.
Yeah,
Or the
yeah.
other thing is, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, let's not get technical here, Douglas. This is all for the fun of it. And, sometimes make it, sometimes you don't. But the great thing is you always give these predictions after the game. So no one is
No,
getting,
I don't. I get up early to do these, TK. Yeah, I do that. In fact, I even put the timestamp right there, 1 p.m. For there's the timestamp right
Oh,
there.
all right, that's fair enough.
TK, that's what I got. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful time of the year, college ball. The holidays are coming up, and it's just beautiful. I've got my coffee. I'm talking to you. What more can I say than go Cowboys?
Aaron, go Brawl.